A very warm welcome to the news. It's World Press Freedom Day, and President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is committed to freedom of the press, but urges media professionals to wield freedom responsibly and without recklessness. In a statement, his media advisor, Femi Adesina, celebrating the landmark day with the media, the president notes that freedom of the press is an irreducible minimum in a democracy that would flourish. He says the fact that everything is permitted does not mean that there are no rules of correctness, particularly in a polity seriously challenged as Nigeria's. The media, he emphasizes, must be sensitive to what the country is going through as a country, saying anything that would exacerbate the situation and further inflame passions and emotions should be avoided. President Buhari pledges greater cooperation with the media to discharge its duties in line with the theme of this year's World Press Freedom Day, information as a public good, urging those who manage information for government to do everything in public interest. In his own message to the Nigerian press on World Press Freedom Day, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, salutes the resilience of Nigerian journalists. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President of the Senate on Media and Publicity, Ola Awoniyi, Senator Lawal is reminded that May 3rd is set aside every year to nudge governments around the world of their obligation to facilitate and respect press freedom, while also reminding journalists of the need to respect the ethics of their profession. The President of the Senate observed that Nigeria has a vibrant media that has always resolutely defended freedom of speech, which enables journalists to effectively discharge their roles as a watchdog of the society and fourth estates of the realm. Lawal stressed that the Ninth Senate and the National Assembly in general will never pass any law that will inhibit the freedom of press, but rather work with the media to further enhance the practice of the profession. Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, joins other eminent personalities to celebrate the Nigerian media on the occasion of the World Press Freedom Day. In a statement, the SGF notes the contribution of the Nigerian media, especially in the containment of the fight against COVID-19, stating that journalists made sacrifices in filing reports day and night, particularly at the onset of the pandemic, when the then Presidential Task Force held national briefings on a daily basis. He says this led to the dissemination of accurate information to the citizenry through jingles, advertorials, and various enlightenment programs on media platforms. The SGF assures media practitioners of the continued support of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, while urging them to use their role as purveyors of news to build a strong and united country by adhering to the ethics of the profession. And on the global scene, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, has observed that the global challenges the world faced during the COVID-19 pandemic underline the critical role of reliable, verified, and universally accessible information in saving lives and building strong and resilient societies. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that this was part of the Secretary General's message to World Press on 2021 World Press Freedom Day.
Freedom of expression and press freedom, analysts say, are critical to the successful implementation of good governance and human rights around the world. In commemorating the day, the UN scribe in a video message said, "Information as a public good is a call to affirm the importance of cherishing information and exploring what can be done in the production, distribution, and reception of content to strengthen journalism."
Journalists and media workers help us navigate a fast-changing and often overwhelming landscape of information. while addressing dangerous inaccuracies and falsehoods. In too many countries, they run great personal risk, including new restrictions, censorship, abuse, harassment, detention, and even death, simply for doing their jobs. And the situation continues to worsen. The economic impact of the pandemic has hit many media outlets hard, threatening their very survival. As budget tightens, so too does access to reliable information. Rumors, falsehoods, and extreme or divisive opinions surge in to fill the gap.
Antonio Guterres said both freedoms were essential for the shaping of a new global sustainable development agenda.
I urge all governments to do everything in their power to support a free, independent, and diverse media. Free and independent journalism is our greatest ally in combating misinformation and disinformation. The United Nations Plan of Action on the Safety of Journalists aims to create a safe environment for media workers across the globe because information is a public good.
Steps to ensure the economic viability of news media, mechanism for ensuring transparency of internet companies, as well as defend and demand journalism as a vital part of information as a public good are some of the highlights of the day. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And to other news now, the Department of State Services says it will no longer tolerate deliberate machinations by subversive and hostile groups whose agenda is to throw the country into anarchy so as to serve the interests of their sponsors. A statement by the DSS spokesperson, Dr. Peter Afunanya, explains that though democracy offers free speech, it does not give room for reckless pronouncements that is capable of undermining security. The DSS therefore wants self-centered individuals to stop engaging in acts inimical to the peace and sovereignty of the nation. The service therefore reaffirms its support to an indivisible and united Nigerian state in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Meanwhile, the statement notes that the service is assiduously working with other security and law enforcement agencies to ensure the maintenance of peace and internal security of the country. INEC office in Essien Udim, local government area of Akwa Ibom State, was set ablaze in the early hours of Sunday. INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, who confirmed the incident, says 345 ballot boxes, 135 voting cubicles, megaphones, water tanks, and office furniture were destroyed. The resident electoral commissioner for Akwa Ibom State, Mike Igini, who reported the incident to the INEC national headquarters, however, says the security guard on duty escaped unhurt. INEC says if such attacks are not checked, may constitute a setback on the Commission's preparations, including the ongoing conversion of voting points to polling units, the forthcoming continuous registration of voters exercise, and the conduct of polls. The operatives of the Nigeria Police Force attached to the Ebonyi State Police Command have intercepted 753 live ammunition of general-purpose machine gun concealed in a sack being transported in a commercial vehicle from Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, to Umuahia in Abia State. In a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, CP Frank Mba, the intelligence drive convert operation, which led to the interception and recovery of deadly ammunition, is part of efforts by the force to identify and crack down on criminal networks and supply chains for weapons and ammunition in and around the country. Comprehensive investigations aimed at bringing to book all persons linked to the crime are ongoing. Similarly, following investigations into the foiled bank robbery on the Onweke branch of a commercial bank in Ebonyi State on Tuesday, 27th April 2021, police operatives led by the Commissioner of Police Ebonyi State Command on 29th April 2021 stormed the criminal hideouts of suspects indicted in the investigations located at Oriuzo local village in Izal North local government area of Ebonyi State. The police team engaged the suspects gallantly and professionally, killing 3 members of the gang, including 2 male and 1 female. 2 AK-45 rifles, 5 pump-action guns, 6 pistols, 50 AK-47 ammunition, and 126 cartridges, jackknives, cutlasses, and a 40-page notebook containing inventories of ammunition purchased by the gang were recovered. A Honda Pilot Jeep with registration number ABJ163NV used for the foiled bank robbery was also recovered by the police team. Meanwhile, efforts are ongoing to arrest other fleeing members of the gang and their spiritual godfather, the chief priest of the shrine. The Inspector General of Police, Acting IGP Usman Alkali Baba, while commending the Commissioner of Police EBONYI State Police Command, CP Aliu Garba, and officers of the command for excellently harnessing intelligence to nip the crimes in the bud, assured citizens of the renewed commitment of the force to improving public safety and combating all forms of violent crimes across the land. This news broadcast is live on the network service of the NTA. We have more news ahead, including teachers in Kano State get 5 years extension of service. Many thanks for staying tuned. Capital markets experts commend central bank's regulation of commercial banks' activities. Let's join Kunle ADHERE for details.
The central bank has been keeping an eagle eye on the activities of commercial banks by taking decisions that will help smoothen their operations. Recently, the Apex Bank exerted its authority by sacking all directors of First Bank of Nigeria, saying the action was taken to safeguard the financial system following the crisis that greeted the purported changes at the bank. A professor of capital market, Uche Uwaleke, said the central bank's incursion into commercial banks' activities will engender confidence in the medium term and guarantee a stable banking sector.
The action of the central bank, in my view, is something that will engender confidence in the, at least in the medium term, because overall, if you have a banking sector that is strong, that is stable, a banking sector where depositors feel that their funds are safe, investors will also feel confident investing in such companies. So for me, it's going to be positive in the long run. But I must also say that the performance of the market has continued to be influenced by what is happening in the fixed income space.
He remarked that such regulatory role will reflect on the stock performance of the banking index. With business news, I'm Kunle ADHERE.
The Nigerian Navy's newest offshore survey vessel, NNS Lana, is on the 3rd leg of her homeward journey to Nigeria. The ship is expected to reach Banjul, Gambia on May 4, 2021, and will be received by officials of the Nigerian High Commission and Nigerian Navy in Gambia. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
There she goes, casting off into the horizon. NNS Lana is homeward bound. The Navy's newest offshore vessel's journey to Nigeria is following a circuitous route after an elaborate ceremony in France. With ports of call in Lisbon, Portugal and Las Palmas, Spain, NNS Lana is currently en route Banjul, Gambia, in the 3rd leg of her journey, which will see her stopping over in Ghana before finally coming home. NNS Lana, also known as A499, is a replacement vessel for one which was decommissioned more than 10 years ago. The new vessel is purposely built and equipped with state-of-the-art equipment to enable the Nigerian Navy conduct hydrographic surveys. It is also capable of search and rescue operations as well as patrol duties and is expected to boost the nation's maritime security, especially around the Gulf of Guinea, which is a known pirate hotspot. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Kano State government has approved a 5-year extension of service for teaching staff at all levels. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje disclosed this at an award dinner to commemorate the 2021 Workers' Day. Abdullahi Mustafa has details.
Due to COVID-19 pandemic, Ramadan fast and high temperatures, normal activities for the commemoration of the 2021 Workers' Day were suspended by the Kano State Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Instead, a get-together to reflect on success stories and challenges was organized. It was also used to honor civil servants and labor leaders who distinguished themselves through selfless service. Alleged unfriendly labor relations in the private sector was equally brought to the fore and was among the demands presented to the government for intervention.
Attempt for the unionization of workers in some of the private sector organizations in the state is usually truncated.
Governor Ganduje, who assured of immediate action on labor's plight, also announced approval for the extension of teachers' service years and age limit.
We have decided to increase the retirement age from 60 to 65. And this also applies to our lecturers in tertiary institutions.
He assured that government will support civil servants in the state towards securing agricultural loans and grants from federal agencies. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 14 new COVID-19 infections nationwide within the last 24 hours, representing the lowest daily statistics in several months and bringing the country's total confirmed cases to 165,167. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, indicates that among the 14 cases, Osun, Ogun, and Kaduna states recorded 3 new cases each. Akwa Ibom recorded 2 cases, while Abia, FCT, and Kwara states recorded 1 case each. So far, 155,361 have been discharged, while the death toll stands at 2,063. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Here is a reminder of our top stories. On World Press Freedom Day, President Buhari is urging Nigerian press to be responsible while extending hands of fellowship to the media. Department of State Services DSS has warned against reckless utterances inimical to national security. In Kano, teachers at all levels get extended years in service. And INEC office in Essien Udim local government area of Akwa Ibom State has been set ablaze.